Whether you are new in business, whether you've been in business for many years, whether you are just starting out, if you're working from home, from an office, for a boss, if you've got a large corporation, wherever you are on your career journey or your life journey for that matter, you will face challenges and hopefully not too many, but major adversities. You will face change that is thrust upon you, change that you create for yourself. You will have problems and issues. It is part of business, it is part of life. And let me tell you, I have had many challenges in my time. I've been in business for well over 40 years, and I think I've faced almost every challenge that there is. And so today I want to just share with you a couple of tips on how you can manage and cope with these challenges and adversities when they are presented to you. Hi, I am Lois, your friend for forgiveness from Walking Without Skin. So what happens is we go through life, we go through our business, whether it's startup or we've been going for some time, life is going quite well for us, the business is plodding along, and then suddenly we are disrupted. Something happens that disrupts our normal functioning. Life is going along, business is going well, and then suddenly something happens. Maybe it's a client, your favorite client, your biggest client suddenly says they don't want to work with you anymore. Maybe your supplier of some of your products suddenly says they can't supply anymore. Maybe it's not quite as serious as not supplying, but maybe they just can't deliver one particular order that you feel is very important. One of my challenges was I was in business, in a partnership, and my partner betrayed me and put the business into liquidation, and I went deep into debt. That was a major adversity. Other challenges I've had, I was 64 and I was told that I was no longer needed, and I was forced into retirement when I didn't want to retire. Uh, I've, I've, I've had businesses, I've had a training business where I just never got paid by a client. And so these we have to cope with. And we are all going through a major challenge at the moment, and that is COVID. It is impacting on our business, it's impacting on our lives. So how do we cope with these challenges? Well, the first thing we need to do is to understand that when this challenge first presents itself, we become a victim. We get angry, we get fearful, we get afraid that we're not going to be able to pay the next month's bills. We're angry with the client, or we're angry with the supplier. We're angry with ourselves. We blame ourselves for what happened, or we blame somebody else for what happened. And we have all these negative emotions. And I want you to know that it's important that you accept these emotions and that you deal with them. It's very, very important that you don't just ignore them and say, oh, I'll get over it, or it'll go away. It won't go away. It will come back and trigger you later on in your career. So do deal with those emotions, understand them, feel them, understand why it's there, understand why you're having it, how it's impacting on you, what it's doing for you, because there are benefits, what it's doing to harm you, and rate that intensity, use all your senses, and then start reducing the intensity, and then replace it with a more positive emotion. We don't spend enough time dealing with emotions, and it's so important. But that's a subject for another discussion, because it's a huge topic. But do deal with those victim emotions, and deal with them sooner rather than later. And now, as a victim, we want to move on from that state. And what we need to do is we need to develop our resilience. Now, with COVID, we are all getting a lot of resilience. We have had to learn how to cope with the situation that is facing us. So resilience comes with the more adversity you face, the more your resilience develops. You can work on creating and developing that resilience by building your strength, your creativity, going forward with courage, finding new solutions, debating, discussing making meaning of what happened to you, what created that situation. And the tools, there are a lot of tools, but 3 tools that I will mention now today that you can use that will help you to develop that resilience. The first one is to refocus. So as you have a camera and you want to refocus, you can zoom in and out. So when you zoom in, you get up close and personal with the picture that you're looking at. So maybe it's the client that left you. Get into the detail. What happened? Who said what? Why? How did it happen? Get really, was it your procedure? Was it something you said? Was it something they said? Really understand what happened. Focus on the detail and come to an understanding of what went wrong. And then you can zoom out and then look at the broader picture and say, how does this impact on the rest of your business? Who else is affected by it? What else is happening as a result of it? Look at that big picture and see things in a new light, see things differently as a result. And it'll help you change your mindset once you've zoomed in and you've zoomed out and you can see the whole situation. You really are able to change your mindset and become more positive. And you get a whole new perspective of what actually took place and what happened. You can even blur your focus and you can take away some of the difficult edges of what happened to you. But it really gives you a lovely, clear perspective of what really happened. And then you want to reframe. So as you would with a picture, you would change it from a black frame to a white frame. You might change it from a fancy frame to a plain frame. And just by changing the frame, you can see it completely in a new light. You see it so differently, and it opens up all new possibilities. And you might say, okay, well, let's change the picture in the frame. And you want to then look for a picture of a different client, of a different situation, and look at it through a different lens by reframing it. It's so important that it gives you a whole new light and a whole new possibility of how you can go forward. You do see it in a different light, and it makes it so much easier to deal with the situation and to go forward. And then the next one is to redirect. So now that you have refocused, you've examined the whole thing from different angles, you've looked at the different perspective, you've reframed it by seeing how it would look in a different light. Now you can redirect your energies and focus on a new conversation and take a different path in your future direction of your business. Maybe you want to find new clients, new target audience. Maybe it makes you realize that you're focusing in the wrong arena. Maybe your product needs to be changed, or you need to add a new product or a different product. Maybe you need to change your policies and procedures, or the way you relate to your clients. Maybe they don't like Zoom and maybe they prefer telephone. What is it that you need to change, to redirect, find new possibilities? And this is a very exciting place to be, to examine alternatives and new ways of forging forward into your life. So what has happened? You build your resilience and you become a survivor. And survivor means you're still struggling, you're still trying to make meaning of what happened, trying to figure out, is it the right thing that you are doing, and are you doing it the right way? And then the beautiful thing is, with redirecting, you now develop your grit. And grit is when you focus now on this new direction. You focused on new goals and new aspirations, and you forge forward, you develop your passion, and you go forward with perseverance and persistence, and you start making headway. And it's very exciting. So grit is as, if not more important than resilience. So resilience is helping you cope with the situation, and grit is helping you forge forward to your new reality, to the new business paradigm, to the new product that you've developed, to your new clients that you've identified. And this is when you become a thriver and you start achieving some level of success and you become empowered within your business. So with me, after I lost the business, it was really difficult for me. I had to refocus, and it was wonderful. It served me because what was I doing in the printing business? It wasn't my passion. My passion was training and coaching and speaking, but I hadn't realized it at the time. And what this did for me, when I started redirecting my energies and I started forging forward, I started a whole new career. And I'm now a speaker and a coach, as opposed to being a business manager in a printing business. And so it really, that refocus and reframing gave me the new possibility to design a whole new life for myself. And I suggest that even if you don't face that adversity, that you still go and develop your grit and find ways to forge forward into some new direction. You can add it to your current offerings, and you maybe even want to change your current offerings. So that's a great place to be. And then in addition to that, what happens is you learn from your mistakes. You've learned where you went wrong because you've refocused and you've really examined the detail. You learn from your mistakes and you've grown from that, and you've developed and you've become a better person, a better business manager as a result of refocusing. So you get that growth mindset, and you might even develop a benefit mindset where you want to help others achieve the same thing. That is not the end. It's very important that we learn to forgive. We have to forgive ourselves. I hated my business partner. I was so angry. I hated him. I behaved badly as a result of that. It's so important that you forgive yourself. Hatred is a terrible emotion to have. Fear, the fear, how am I going to make a living? What am I going to do now? How am I going to recover from my debt? That fear is awful. And it holds you back, and it creates stress and anxiety, and it impacts negatively on your health. So you need to forgive yourself for having those emotions. They were necessary at the time, but now it's time to move on and to forgive yourself and say, what did I learn from that? How did it serve me? How can I move forward from that? And forgive yourself. And I've got a whole 12-step process on how to forgive. And then, even more importantly, is to forgive the other person, and to understand that forgiveness is not condoning what the other person did. My partner put me into debt. It's not saying what he did was right, but what it does, it helps you understand why he did it, or why they did what they did to you. Why did your client leave you? What was wrong with your service that they decided to find somebody else, or what was missing from your offering that they decided to go somewhere else? So it's not saying what they did was the right thing. They made the best decision that they could at the time, the same as you made your best decision that you could at the time. So you have to forgive them as well for making that decision. So it's not saying it's okay, it's saying I'm breaking myself emotionally from that experience. I'm not going to sit and wallow in self-pity that that client left me. I'm going to learn from that mistake, and I'm going to forgive that person, and I'm going to let myself free, move away and fly free from that situation. So forgiveness is so, so all empowering. It really does set you free from that situation. And you can then focus on your new clients and your new products and your new offerings. Maybe it's redesigning your processes and procedures and the way you actually conduct business. When I was forced into retirement, I refocused on what am I going to do? What happened? I was really in the wrong business. I was in corporate. What was I doing in corporate? I should be moving into the personal life coaching arena. And so I refocused, I reframed my whole client base, and I redirected my energies. And moving from Lois Wagner coaching, I now have Walking Without Skin, which is really a different business, a different offering with a completely different client base. And that is what the adversity did for me. It helped me find my true passion and my true calling. And that is what I now do. So, guys, I'm inviting you all to reframe, refocus, redirect, find your resilience and grit, and to fly free. Thank you very much for watching, and much success in your business going forward. I am Lois, your friend for forgiveness.